Joined by Matt Hubbard, candidate for mayor in the Sylacauga City Municipal Runoff, coming up next Tuesday, the 23rd of September. Matt, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Jimmy Dale.
Lots to talk about this morning, and let's get right to it. What's on your mind today?
Well, I appreciate being here, and I'm going to apologize to your viewers coming on after Lake and Benjamin and then having to talk about local politics, because you talk about a buzzkill, because they did wonderful with their Star Student of the Month interview. But I do need to address some comments and clarify some things, and then I'd like to speak more towards my vision and plans for our great city. I want to talk about these endorsements and so forth, because things get twisted and turned and everything. But I want our Sylacauga family to consider this. My opponent for the last 10 to 12 years, he's run on phrases like the status quo must go. He's running against the good old boy gang, and he's actually used the phrase Sylacauga Mafia, and I believe he's referencing the establishment with that. But when he joined teams with the former Mayor Heigl's campaign, he abandoned all of that. He abandoned every bit of it. He joined the status quo. He joined the good old boy gang. And he joined that establishment that he refers to as the Sylacauga Mafia. So that questions integrity with that, and standing on your principles and those type things. Now, he didn't just join the mayor's campaign. I referenced it last week. That's been going on since mid-June, and probably a little bit before that through another individual who works at City Hall. So just want to touch on that real quick. Now, he brought up the debate again, and Brian, I'll say this, just like I've asked you before, told you before, that text message that you're showing people trying to say that I'm lying about it. Look, I will share my phone records and phone bills and put them out there for the public to see. I've encouraged you to do the same. You won't do it because you know it will show who's being honest in that particular situation. Now, he referred to the $10,000 donation and contribution that he received from one of his clients while the CDA president. He wanted to dismiss it by saying that deal fell through or that it never went through. That whole contribution has nothing to do with the past. It has to do with future dealings. Any future dealing with that property through that client as CDA president or as mayor is tainted now. It is a clear conflict of interest violation and ethics violation. Now, some of my opponent's own words. I'm gonna read this off to you, but go back to the August 10th AL.com article. They did an article on Santa Claus running for political office. Now, he made this comment, and I apologize, I have to get my glasses on, but he made this comment in AL.com. I believe the Republicans and Democrats are two sides of the coin, but are leading us to hell just in different ways. Now, those aren't my words, those are his. I read them, that's quoted from the August 10th AL.com article. Now, I want to say this to your viewers. Folks, Democrats and Republicans in Alabama represent 91% of all voters. 91%. Do you want a mayor who uses that type of divisive and divisive comment as your mayor and saying that 91% of all voters in Alabama are leading us to hell? I don't think so. That's not a unifying message, that's divisive. All right, his platform. His major platform is that he's raised $800,000 in tax receipts, tax sales for our city. That's wonderful. The way I think about that is, why is it not 1.8 million? Why are we not talking about 2.8 million? Why are we not talking about 3.8 million? And the question to this When he says that he's raised $800,000 through the Commercial Development Authority, the question we all should ask is, how much are we giving away in tax abatements and tax incentives? Well over $800,000 a year. So if you look at what we're bringing in versus what we're giving away, we are at a deficit. So really not a good platform, in my opinion, solid platform to run on. Now, granted, it's better than zero. I give credit where credit's due. But again, do your homework, do your research. All right, I do want to address, my opponent sent out a mail out. Hold that up right there. I know you probably can't read it, but you probably received one. Now, he has manufactured a crime platform in this election. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you, where it says our crime rates in Sylacauga are among the worst 10% per capita in our state and nation, not accurate information. Says he's the only mayoral candidate talking about. Not accurate. I come on Jimmy Dale here and talked about crime. I've talked about it with our citizens knocking on doors and so forth. Now at the bottom of this it says according to FBI-based data. Folks, he's hoping that when you read FBI-based data that you just subconsciously believe it, that it's true. Here's the thing, where are the dates? Where's the date on that? According to that could be from 2000. That could be from 2010. It could be from 2018. That is not accurate information. Now, also over here, when it says his plan to stop crime, look at number 3, reopen Drew Court Precinct over there. We're already doing that. The Housing Authority has already begun that, working with SPD. That's already in the works. Now, number 7, reopen the Verley Collins Community Center. That's already in the works. If he spent any time in that community, he would know that already. Now, I would like to clarify some things that he touched on the other day. My vision regarding Highway 21. I never said that I wanted to see the 4-lane extended all the way over. I said I wanted to reach out to ALDOT to see the status of the 4-lane project, if it was done and never to begin again, or what. So he's trying to twist those words, and spin that a little bit. Now, he also brought up the overpass. I simply want information from ALDOT as far as how much something like that would cost and the time frame that it would take to build an overpass over our 3 railroads. That way, when we do get to a point to where we have investors coming in and new businesses and they ask about that particular thing, because it stands out to everyone, that triple railroad, we've got actual data in front of us to say, you know what, we got this from ALDOT in 2026, and here's the information. This is why we are pursuing it, or this is why we are not pursuing it. So we have that actual data right there in front of us. Now, he brought up my contributions again, and he knows people, he knows the accuracy, he knows the truth behind this. All of my contributions are in. I've got a couple of more to get in. The website was down from the 11th to the 15th. I've got another $150 that I need to put in there. And when you put it in on the contribution side, it says what you had to put it in for. Just about every bit of mine's for advertising, and it's all here locally. And like I said last time, I've put in at least $23,000 of my own money. It's not coming from some secret donor. I will even go a step further and tell you this. Not only can you see my campaign contributions, I will share my own personal bank accounts and bank statements to show that I'm telling the truth in this. Total transparency. I don't believe my opponent will do that. And then last and least, I want to address this narrative or this rumor that that's going around that I'm planning on putting the original city clerk that the mayor fired. They're going around saying, well, that's why we're against Matt, is because if he gets mayor, he's going to put this city clerk back in the city clerk's position. I'm going to be completely transparent about that whole process. I've had nothing to do with it other than attend the Civil Service Board hearings and hear every second of testimony that was given. The Civil Service Board voted. That city clerk appealed that decision. It's now at the district court level with a district judge, I should say. That district judge will make a decision to uphold that or to terminate, uphold the termination or send it back to our city council. We will have a new city council that if the judge sends it back to the city council, they make that decision on whether that employee comes back or not the mayor. I will play no role whatsoever in that process, but they're trying to spin it and twist it and confuse you, the voters out there, that I'm in control of that or would be. Simply not true. Okay, now, those are all the things that I just wanted to clarify, and I'd really like to spend the rest of the time on positive, what we're really here for, to hear my vision and plan.
Can I ask you one thing?
Yes, sir.
I noticed reports yesterday that the current mayor, Jim Heigl, had vetoed the ordinance or whatever it's called about the two employees. And again, we talked about this, touched on it last week with you and your opponent. Whomever the mayor is going to have to deal with this coming up.
Yeah.
And the budget as well. So talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, so with that, the city council, they addressed that last night, and the question was, do they have to vote on a veto? That was from an unauthorized action to begin with. But they voted on it, and so the mayor, I don't know if the word rescinded his veto or he agreed with the city council since they were, voted against his veto. So there was some back and forth that last night city council meeting, but it's back in the hands of the city council. So now they voted on it last night. They had a roll call vote, and so those two employees have to pay that money back. And then it goes before the city council again for them to vote on it properly and then decide whether or not to apply those raises to those employees.
You have got just a few more days to go in the campaign. It's been a long, hard campaign. You've met a lot of people. You have been accused of numerous things that you supposedly have done and said.
Yeah.
Let's hear the vision of Matt Hubbard.
All right, so and Jimmy Dale, I appreciate it. And folks, I want to lay the foundation for this because, I like I've said all along, I have experience in short-term planning and long-term planning. And I'm going to be honest with you, the hardest part of this whole campaign process has been sitting on what I'm about to share with you, because I learned a long time ago that loose lips sink ships. I didn't share this prior to the initial election because I've even stated this on here before, knew the percentages that it would more than likely be a runoff. So, took a chance on that, and that's exactly where we are. So now is the time to share some of this. So I want to share, there's three things. The first thing is what I call the Futures Foundation, and it's exactly what, how it sounds. The Futures Foundation will lead into what I call Plan 2028, and then Plan 2028 leads into Plan 2030, which gets into the long-term plans. Now, back to the Futures Foundation. We were out on the campaign trail, and we kept hearing what people were concerned about, but there were always these other things. Well, I'd like to see this too. I'd like to see that too. And what we saw was, one, they wanted change, but the majority of people that we spoke to want our city unified. They want something to unite over.
That would be refreshing.
It'd be very refreshing. Now, a lot of talk that we also heard too, depending on the generation you were speaking with, They wanted to see beautification efforts. They wanted to see, downtown, Fort Williams, Highway 21, 280. They wanted to see beautification efforts along these. Now, the Futures Foundation speaks directly to that because, one, what it does, it offers us an opportunity and a medium to unite, because when this election is over with next Tuesday, it'll take some time for the dust to settle. But like I said 5 months ago at my launch party, when the dust settles, we are all Team Sylacauga. We are all Sylacauga family, and we need to be united and moving forward together. Now, excuse me, now, what the Futures Foundation is, and again, I've talked to a couple financial advisors about this, and this part of it's not solidified. It could be a 501c3, it could be a trust, or it could be a combination of forming a local investment group as well. But what the Futures Foundation is, we would run this because I've had a lot of people say they want the Beautification Council to grow as well. Apparently back in the 80s we used to have just dozens and dozens and dozens of people on the Beautification Council. So the Futures Foundation be set up similar to the Schools Foundation. Think of that, where we would allow every citizen who wants to. This would not be a new tax. It would not be a bond issue, which those are two things that people said they did not want. But this would be a creative financial mechanism and medium for whoever wants to contribute to this to contribute individually through our small businesses, through our business and corporations, our larger businesses. We make those contributions. We never touch the principal. We only take the interest from that principal, and then we apply it to beautification projects. Now, we would start with our welcome signs at every welcome point, including the airport. I don't want to leave the airport out of this because, one thing that we cannot become, you hear the phrase flyover states like Midwest states. We cannot become a drive-through city in Sylacauga. We have so many investors and business people who drive through Sylacauga to Lake Martin, going to the beaches or going to Auburn. They're coming from Birmingham down 280. They come from all over northeast Alabama down 21, coming through Sylacauga. And we cannot be a drive-through city. We've got to when I say beautification, I'm talking about world-class beautification. And a lot of you already know this. Sylacauga, we are unique in the fact we are the only city in the world named Sylacauga. You won't find another city anywhere on the face of the earth named Sylacauga. We are also not just the marble city, but we are America's marble city. We are the only marble city in America, and we need to be promoting ourselves in that manner. We need to have a nationwide campaign on promoting this. We've got Purcell, the golf course now. There's a whole PR side of this, and I'm the only candidate talking about hiring a PR position for transparency purposes through City Hall, who can work with our Chamber of Commerce and our local business and industries and help grow. We don't need reputation repair. We do in certain areas, but this effort, this Futures Foundation will go a long way because it saves our municipal tax dollars, and instead of supplanting those municipal tax dollars, it supplements. So now we can cut through some of the red tape and get these beautification projects with the welcome signs and all along our streets from Highway 21 to 280. And y'all, we are so fortunate. We are different than most cities in that we do have 280 and 21 coming. And then we have this awesome connection between Fort Williams right there. So we invest and beautify these, and when people drive through, they're going to say, you know what? on our way to the beach, we'll stop and eat lunch, or we'll stop and eat dinner in Sylacauga instead of driving on down to Alex City or somewhere else. And when you do that, and you make your city more attractive, now some of these people coming through here are investors. They're small business owners, and they'll say, hey, we wouldn't mind investing in Sylacauga. Could be a young family looking for a comfortable small town to move to. Could be a retired couple that wants to live in a city that takes care of itself and beautifies itself. So the Futures Foundation is our, excuse me again, it is our medium and our opportunity to unite with each other. Has nothing to do with politics. It has everything to do with beautifying our city and growing interest in our city. That is just the foundation to Plan 2028. Because what we've got to do, the biggest part of Plan 2028 is growing our population. We have a census coming up in 4 years in 2030. And folks, we cannot drop below 12,000. It changes our whole city government. It changes how much money that flows through our coffers. And so Plan 2028, once we get the Futures Foundation up and going, and we build that unification effort through the city, and we get all on the same page here. It doesn't have to be consensus, but majority. Then we can start focusing on population growth. We need to improve our financial standing in the state of Alabama. We need to improve and strengthen our political clout in East Alabama, because there's a major project that could take place that could change all of South Talladega County in years to come, and possibly before 2030, but maybe after 2030. And we have to prepare ourselves for that next push. But we've got to improve our political clout. We've got to improve our financial standing here. And it all begins with a small baby step in beautifying Highway 21 to 280, Fort Williams, and Highway 280, and building our pride, repairing certain parts of our reputation, and letting the state of Alabama know that Sylacauga is back.
Matt Hubbard, Dr. Matt Hubbard, candidate for mayor in the September 23rd runoff election. And we just got a few days left to go before the runoff election. We've seen endorsements. We've seen people who have dropped out of the campaign for council. So a lot of things topsy-turvy right now. Matt Hubbard, the citizens of Sylacauga are looking for stability.
Absolutely.
They're looking for someone to say, hey, I'm going to lead us forward in 2025.
Absolutely, and I'm that person. I'm the only mayoral candidate who can sit before our Sylacauga family and say that I can and will commit 110% of my time. I'm retired from a 32-year career, and I can devote all 110% of my time to the Futures Foundation, to managing the city and our municipal departments, and growing that plan, getting prepared for that Plan 2028 and that push for Plan 2030 before that census gets here, growing our population, growing our business and industry, and growing our economic. And here's the key to this. I've touched on the 800,000 and then, bringing in, and then the tax abatements and tax incentives. Sylacauga family, we have to make our property so valuable that 800,000 in these tax abatements, that we flip the script on that. These incentives, we are giving our money away that should be coming into our coffers here in our municipal government. We have got to improve our property values. They have to increase so that we do not have to give it all away in these incentives. Now, the first step in doing that is in beautification efforts. And the Futures Foundation speaks directly to that.
Being an educator, as you have been most of your career, you know the importance of talking to families about coming to Sylacauga and what our school systems can offer and growing Sylacauga together. People are tired, Matt Hubbard, of status quo. They're tired of fussing and fighting. They want stability. They want that transparency, total transparency that you bring to the table.
I bring it, and I sit here and I'll tell you, because when you work in public education, you have to be transparent. There's nothing, the biggest thing in being public education is accountability. I've worked under accountability, rules and regulations, those type things. And I'm going to say this too. My opponent ended his segment the other day, kind of made a slight at educational leaders, saying that educational leaders aren't true leaders or something to that effect. Really? Ted and Shirley Spears are not leaders. We wouldn't have our library if it weren't for Ted and Shirley Spears. Margaret and Joe Morton are not leaders. Are you kidding me? Look at what SAFE is doing. They are the model family resource center for the state of Alabama, and in my opinion, should be for the nation. Those are all former educational leaders. Don't even get me in Miss Renee Riggins, Jesse and Priscilla Cleveland, Dr. Jane Cobia. We have so many educational leaders here in Sylacauga that it just baffled me that he made that comment.
Yeah. Dr. Matthew Hubbard, candidate for mayor in the Sylacauga municipal runoff election, coming up next Tuesday, the 23rd day of September. And I know that it's been a long campaign. It's been a hard-fought campaign. There's been a lot of things that's been said that hurts feelings. But come the 23rd, someone is going to step forward and say, hey, I'm going to lead us out of this mess.
Absolutely. I'm used to the rigor remor, back and forth. When you've been in an public education leadership for over 20 years, a lot of this stuff rolls off your back like water off a duck's back. You understand what's trivial and what you need to address. It's just like what I came in and addressed, tried to do it in quick fashion this morning to get to the positive message of vision and planning. And so, you know what needs to be addressed and what, is just trivial. You can let it roll off, like water off a duck's back. And that just comes from experience with the public. Not corporate experience, and I'm not knocking corporate experience, because any leadership experience is good experience. To me, it doesn't matter what profession it's in, but I believe that the public education experience does lend itself better to the mayoral position, because the mayoral position is not necessarily about political positioning. It's nonpartisan. It's about being the city's administrator and having that vision and getting your municipal departments operating efficiently and getting the city council to work together. I had a wise person share with me this past week, talking with them, that politics is it's the art of compromise. And if you can get all 5 city council members to know and understand that there's going to be give and take in a lot of these situations. It can't be consensus. It can't be you always getting your way, and then if you don't, going on social media and getting your district fired up about it. That's divisive. That's divisive. The city doesn't want that anymore. They want us working together. I have experience in bringing different mindsets together and getting them to work together for the greater good and for the common good. That's what educational leadership is about, and I've got over 32 years of experience in doing it, and we'll bring that to the mayor's office.
Next Tuesday, the 23rd, people will elect a new mayor. There are people who are saying, well, I'm just so disenchanted, I'm not even going to go back to the polls and vote. I've just had it. Speak to those people this morning.
Yes, please don't take that mindset. Look, let's be a people that have the mindset of the glass is half full and not half empty. You may not like the political process, but it's the only process we have in America. It's worked for hundreds of years. So this is the process that we follow, good, bad, or indifferent, whether we like it or not. Do not forfeit your opportunity to vote. That is your voice. Your vote is your voice in this municipal election. If you want change, and I'm not just going to say change, if you want positive change that's going to lead us and guide us and unify our city, okay, then I encourage you, get out and vote next Tuesday, and when you vote, vote Matt Hubbard for mayor.
Dr. Matthew Hubbard, candidate for mayor in the Sylacauga municipal runoff election, coming up on Tuesday, September the 23rd. Matt, thanks for coming.
Thank you, Jimmy Dale.
We've got more coming up.